And we're live. We're live. The Ham Radio Crash Course is back again. Back on Friday. I like the Fridays. Doing wine today. I'll talk about that in a minute. Got a lot of news to talk about up front, guys. This has been a really hard 3 weeks for me. And I'll go into that in a second. But I wanted to say, Gong Hei Fat Choi. That's Happy New Year. It is Chinese New Year Day, or Lunar New Year Day. Chinese New Year, it's referred to Tet if you're Vietnamese. Anyway, some of the things on the table here are traditional Chinese New Year stuff. This is bun chung, which is like my favorite Vietnamese, one of my favorite Vietnamese foods. You put this in a skillet, fry it up. That's a lacy envelope. Usually that's filled with money, and you give that to kids. It's kind of the reason for the season as far as kids are concerned. So when we last talked, I had a pretty bad cough, right? And before that, week before that, I had the cough. So I've been sick for like 3 weeks. Well, the cough's gone. The congestion is gone. But now I have a completely sealed off sinus. The maxillary sinus is completely swollen. It's pushing on my teeth. My teeth hurt. This sucks, guys. This sucks so bad. I am in a ton of pain. Passed the technician exam. J-Dog to the rescue. What's up? Guys, if you're past your technician exam, please go to the Ham Radio Crash Course Facebook page and become a member and tell everybody there. It's kind of an easy way for me to keep track of how many people we've got that are passing. So yeah, make sure you go do that. Please go do that. But yeah, so I have a totally locked off sinus, and it hurts bad, really bad. I've tried, I'm on antibiotics that the doctor gave me. I'm taking the Flonase. I even bought that battery-operated water sucker device called a nut. Anyway, nothing's working. I'm kind of concerned they're going to have to go in there and rotor-rooter my nose out. But enough about that. Actually, instead of having people comment on this, my sinus situation, if you have any issue, if you had or dealt with, what do they call it, sinusitis, send me a message on Hashnasi on Facebook if you've got something that works. Because I'll try just about anything at this point. So much pain. Okay, so, good news. The antenna video, at least the first antenna video, the shootout video, is coming out tomorrow. So I did a review of 5 Baofeng antennas, and I gave them just a kind of a crash course type of thing. I just made them perform equally bad. I gave them a really bad situation and wanted to see which one came out on top. Let's see. DJSHN, or DJ Sean Nibs, I guess is something like that, or I can kind of read shorthand names. Go download the practice test. Go download the practice test and start taking practice exams. So don't worry about other people. Don't ask other people how long they were working on the 2018 questions. Just go take the practice exam. Whoa! P-Cola Pilot, $20. Thanks, buddy. Right off the bat. That I super appreciate. Mr. Moose, thanks for making these vids. They've been really helpful as I'm looking into ham radio and hoping to get my license soon. Thanks from Australia. Yeah, I can't help you in Australia. I know you guys have different rules there. I hear it's not as bad as Canada. Canada's rules are pretty tough. Anyway, we got a couple of Aussies that are in here now and then. So yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, what else? Got more news, and I just killed my news thing. Thanks to the patrons. Most of this is funded in a way through Patreon and through the nice work that's going on there. So the things that I'm able to purchase and work with makes it so that I can do this weekly. Ham radio videos take time, and the material is not cheap, and I would be buying an antenna instead of 5 antennas. So things are getting made because of the patrons, so I appreciate that. I am going to turn on the Xiegu X5105. We are monitoring 80 meters at 3.853. You're going to hear some white noise in the background now. Let me know if it gets too bad. But I'm on 3.853 if anybody is is interested in talking. And, of course, we will do Q&A at the end of the stream. So, the Brew Crew. I'm drinking wine. I can't do the beer right now for some reason with the sinus thing, so I'm sipping on a little bit of wine, hopefully loosen up the old sinuses. Guys, I'm telling you, I've never had something like this. It hurts a lot. And I'm also trying to reply to Facebook, apparently. Whew. Okay. So, the title of the video is, why would you want to have your handy-talkie set to the input of a repeater? And what I mean specifically is, if you can see this, so I'm monitoring channel 15, but above that, channel 16, it says 441.64. That's the input frequency for that repeater. The reason that you would want to do that is it allows you to determine if there are people close to you that are transmitting to that same repeater. Because, as we know from our chirp programming, you listen on one frequency, and then you use an offset, like a plus or a minus offset, which is a 5 or 6 megahertz shift either up or down. So your radio displays the receive frequency, but it doesn't really tell you what you're transmitting on. And so when you're talking, you've got the repeater locked down basically on the higher or lower offset frequency, and everybody else is receiving on the receive side. So everybody's on the receive side except for when they're talking. If you ever have... Yeah, I put the... Random Man. I put the schedule up. I schedule these in advance so that you guys know when to show up. It makes it really easy. That way there's a reminder if you click the little bell. Easy stuff. 7 p.m. Ed Powell, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Usually always 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is now. Happy Chinese New Year. So, we receive on the receive side, right? We receive on the receive side. And we transmit on the transmit side. But if you're not monitoring the transmit side, you're not going to hear the people that are close to you. And let me visually show this to you. Let me flip over here. So, here is the repeater that I'm on most often. This is the Santiago peak repeater. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on here a little bit to show you, hopefully visually, what I'm talking about. So I'm about here. Okay? That's my location, that little blue dot. Well, this is a mountain range, pretty much, that goes along the coastal seaboard of California. That green tinted opaque area is all the spaces that the spark repeater can receive from and transmit to. So that means that there could be people that I'm talking to that are on the other side of that coastal range. So what if most of the users are in San Bernardino? Which, that's the case. A lot of the most often talked to users are in San Bernardino. I can't talk to them straight up without the use of some kind of repeater to get me up and over the mountain range, right? VHF, UHF is a line of sight radio mode. Well, VHF, UHF is as an RF signature, FM is the mode. Anyway. But, let's say, and this happens a lot, you will find this happens more than you think, actually. Particularly if you start monitoring a lot of different repeaters, or you really start using your radios a lot, you will know, you will be indoctrinated to the world of interference. There are a lot of people out there that create interference on purpose, to be jerks. They'll use curse words. They'll try and hold the repeater by just holding down the PTT, and they'll broadcast music or transmit music, or they'll... any number of things, for whatever reasons. Somebody will be a longtime user on the repeater and feels that they're being made fun of, or someone actually makes fun of them, or something like that. And then they become the enemy of the repeater, and they start just harassing everybody on the repeater? Well, if they're doing it anonymously, which most of the people do it anonymously, the only way you can really determine who it is if you start to direction find them. Now, I've talked about direction finding before, and I'll do a longer video in the future. There's actually the guy who runs this repeater is pretty good at direction finding, and I'd actually like to do a video with him. So you can build a direction finding antenna, which will help you determine where this individual is, and by where it is when that person's transmitting, so long as you're in their area. Again, if you're separated by a mountain, you're not going to be in there, and you're not going to be able to DF them. But if you can hear them on the input frequency, then you know that it might be a good idea to switch over to a directional. And then you can kind of like sweep around you in a 360-degree pattern, and you'll be able to hear wherever they're at, whatever it is they're doing. Right? Does that make sense? Any questions on that while I go in for another little bit of wine? Got a question in the chat from Random Man. How are the Baofangs holding up? I want to talk about this. I'll take a quick tangent. I get messages. I mentioned that many times. I get messages from comments, messages constantly from people on many things, like what Baofeng should I buy, which antenna should I get. But I also get messages from people that have really bad stories from having the Baofangs, that they just break on them. They just stop working. And you can't go on any YouTube videos without having someone relay a horror story about them and their Baofangs. I have not had a problem with any of my Baofangs. I personally own 4 Baofangs, and none of them have given me any issue. Now, I've not really dropped them from any appreciable height. I've never submerged them in water. Nothing has ever happened to any of my Baofangs to hasten their decline. But they've never really started to degrade on me, or only partially part of it start working or not working on them. So I never know what to say to those people because I feel bad. Part of the reason why I recommend buying from Amazon, because if it shows up dead, which some people say they do show up dead, then you could just send it back to Amazon. Let them handle it. Don't worry about going to the Chinese company. Oh, the John Z project's got to take off. Sorry, buddy. We'll catch you next week. So back to my antenna thing here. So let's say we've got this evil dude. We'll make him in red, and he's between me and the repeater, right in Costa Mesa in Irvine. So depending on his output of radio, how many watts he's putting out, he's probably going to be able to talk over me in the repeater. Meaning he'll be able to take over, or if I start talking, he can harass me by holding down PTT and transmitting at the same time. This happens to a lot of people, believe it or not. It is less common in very organized repeater systems, but it's still a real thing. So what this allows me to do, let me go back to my blue here. I guess I should just learn how to use the app, right? So what this allows me to do is, say my receive, and there's partially a reason why I wanted to talk about this, is because of the video that I'm putting out tomorrow, the antenna video, at least the first part of the antenna video. Your ability to be kind of effective in direction finding really starts out with a pretty good omnidirectional, because it's your footprint, it's your received footprint. So let's say I am blocked by this mountain, so I can only, my radius of receive is like this little circle. No, I'm not drawing boobs. I guess it looks a little bit like that. So that guy's within my sphere of receive. Now, never mind the repeater. Repeaters are, again, on mountaintops, so you can hit them line of sight, and they have really high power to transmit with. But this individual, say, maybe only 5 watts, I might not be able to pick him up with a stubby antenna. I might need a bigger antenna to be able to pick him up on the receive side. Now, I'm still hearing him on the transmit side of the repeater, but for anybody who's used a Baofeng, when you use a Baofeng, see the little arrows there? See the arrow? So depending on which dual watch frequency you're receiving from, those arrows will flash. So you'll be able to know. And again, this is a little Baofeng focused. It's the same that works with Yaesu's, or any other radio for that matter. But it's kind of easy to explain with a Baofeng. So those arrows will tell you where that guy is, or girl, I guess. Not a lot of girls in the area of spurious interference, but I'm sure they do exist. That allows you to figure out, okay, well, this guy's in my sphere of receive, and I can hear him on the input side. That makes you think, okay, I can switch over to my DFing antenna, which is a beam antenna, right? I told you, a beam antenna is like a center post, and then you've got all these elements off of it, right? Something like that, right? And your cable hooks up right there to your radio. And you can handhold it, right? I will do a video on my direction finding antenna that I made that's super cheap. I used it for satellites, and I made it out of a Harbor Freight tape measure, like the ones you can get for free. Hell yeah. Totally cool project. That's one I could stream. I think I could stream that. So I got a question. Question is SC. Somebody asked me best Baofeng. Noah Borko. A good way to tell what it is I recommend is to go to Amazon, my link down here, the Hashnasi influencer page, and see what's there. If you're asking me about a radio and it's not on that page, I don't recommend it for one of two reasons. Either I have worked with it and it's total garbage, or I have not worked with it because I don't own it and I don't have access to it. So I only recommend things that I actually have put hands on and can recommend. So the BF F8 HP is the Baofeng I recommend. I know there's an S1 or an R1 or something like that. It's basically the upgrade to the UV5R, and they have a high power version, which is 8 watts. I don't have one, again, but I don't know. I like the BFF8 HP, and I have, that's what I recommend. So I've got to stick to my guns and do the right thing and recommend the right thing, right? Carrie, so Carrie says she would like to put an antenna in, to make my own antenna. I've got the space. Well, if you've got the space in your backyard, that's awesome. Space is the most important commodity in building an antenna. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, I'm in a green screen, but I moved the camera, and now you can see. Shouldn't move the camera. Don't bump the camera, Josh. I made a video on the Super J-pole, and it is built out of copper plumbing, 1/4-inch copper plumbing pipe. Very easy to make. Super, super, super duper easy. Oh man, I forgot my. Oh well, we've got time. I was gonna say I'm going to the TRW swap meet again at the end of the month. So if you guys are in the Redondo Beach, California area, we're doing another meetup there. We got a lot of people this time that said they want to come out and take the test. So awesome, I will be there to root you on. Well, Carrie, you asked the question, and hopefully you're, with the lag, you're getting the answer right off the bat. I would build a J-pole. J-poles are fun. J-poles are fun because you cover the driven angle and the ground in the vertical, and that helps you avoid having to bury counterpoise wires, ground wires, if you wanted a vertical. So yeah, definitely recommend the J-pole. Okay, so now what's another good example? Antennas. I've talked about a vertical antenna, right? And the antenna on your HT, if you were to look at this HT as it's radiating from above, right? Here's your radio from above. Your propagation is a circle, right? It's just a big circle, or something oval shaped, whatever. Based on the little idiosyncrasies of the antenna, it could change, but it's omnidirectional, meaning it's trying to equally spray RF in all directions. That's fine if everybody is in your field of view, your propagation radius. The DF antenna, which is next to it, has more of a, so again, here's the antenna. It has more of a pronounced lobe of effect, and then there's little micro lobes that come off the side of it like this. Okay? Then this is from the vertical, so if you're looking down on the radio. And they make things that model this. The antenna models are a thing that you start getting into when you start thinking about what antennas you want to put on your home or what have you. So that's what makes these antennas so useful for finding people, because depending on which direction you point that thing, that frequency is going to totally disappear on you. So you turn until it comes back, and you kind of fine-tune left and right until you know exactly where that individual is, and there you go. You kind of just found the person. Now there's a way to do this with an Omni, okay, and that's what we're going to talk about. It's called body blanking. So what you're going to do, so remember, it's a big circle of propagation. You're going to put your body, you're going to put the antenna right up against your body, right up against your body, and you're going to use your body kind of like a backstop, like a mobile wall that won't allow the RF to go through. And you're going to turn your body around kind of like the opposite, right? What you're trying to do is you're going to hear the station on like over 180 degrees, but there's going to be a small sliver where your behind you is, because you're body blanking, where they disappear. And the point at which they disappear, that's pretty much where you know that individual is. Now, this leads to the major, well, okay, how do you really figure out where the person is? Well, that's a good thing about repeaters, because repeaters are full of like-minded people, and they're ham radio operators. And if you get enough people that all can tell you, I hear that person on the receive frequency, I hear that individual in Cerritos, and then somebody else comes in and says, well, I can hear that individual down here in Dana Point. And so he goes, my frequency, my area of ability is, and again, I'm not drawing boobs, my receive area is something like that. Well, between those two people just talking on the repeater, you got a pretty good idea that this guy is somewhere around this area, right? I mean, I guess he could be on a boat out in the water, but that helps you figure out where this person is. And that's kind of the whole point of why you might want to, if you can't program your radio or you don't want to waste the memory location, remember that this capability exists in your HT, and remember how repeaters work. So when you're looking at this is, no, he's talking. You got to figure out how your frequent or your repeater is configured. So is it plus or minus offset? How is it done? And then you can just manually plug it in. You can do that too. That'll work just fine. Yeah, man. I am feeling, I want to just take a shot back and just run it up my nose and just, no bueno. Man, it's killing me. All right, let me check the chat. Oh, wow. Terminator XX564 says, I was actually able to help local EMS with my Baofeng with the Nagoya N771 antenna the other week, relaying information. I live in a rural country. Yo, dude, that's awesome. Kudos to you, Terminator. So, I guess I'll just say spoiler alert. One of the best performing antennas in my my little beat 'em up that I did is the 771 by Nagoya. It's a very good antenna. The problem with the 771 is it's very long, so it's going to add a lot of top heavy mass to your radio, and you're gonna have issues with that. Uh-oh, Ed needs to refresh. Where's the chat? Somebody asked a question. I find the multiple acronyms and phrases the ham radio operators use to be most confusing in learning about ham radio. Yeah, buddy. He wants me to make a video on it. Could you make a video defining common ham radio slang, if there is any, and common technical terms? Yeah, it's a damn good idea. I think I've got myself into a backlog of like 4 videos that I need to make. I'm going to make a note of that right now. I don't want to forget. So, make a video for ham slang. There you go. I have made a note. It has been noted. Carrie, I have so many different kinds of neti pots, it's not even funny. Like, I have the electric one now that has a vacuum function, and it's just not, it's not doing it. It's bad. I might have to have surgery. I might have to have somebody go in there and literally start tearing stuff up. The signal stuff signal stick. Somebody asked to see the signal stuff signal stick. I don't even know what that is. Signal stuff signal stick. Super elastic signal stick. $20. Signal stuff. I am going to let me go web. All right. So super elastic signal stick. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. Yeah. It's totally great. $20? Sure. Do it. It's probably very good. I would recommend, if you're going to do this, go ahead and get the adapters to take BNC. BNC is the best thing you can do for your HTs. It's the best thing. BNC antennas are the best way to go. Oh, hey, there's no chat. Where did the chat go? Where did all my chat room? There it is. Hang tight, chat room. We'll get you right back here. Well, this isn't going to work. So I'm going to go over here. Never mind this live. I didn't even think about this when I was getting the chat together. I'm like, I'm going to need... All right, ready? Magic. That was some live stream maintenance right there. I don't even have a producer for this stuff. Ed Powell is having problems. Yeah, sorry, Ed. Don't know what that's about. I'm sorry that you missed part of it. But also, I'm having Zygu problems. Menu 7 MMS. Doop, doop, doop. KI6NAZ radio test. Yeah, no, it's still... I am having a Zygu problem. Did not fix. Did not fix issue. No power seen on PTT. Let me check the chat again. Okay. Actually, I need to pull up the... I don't want to jump ahead. I've got questions, but I don't want to sneak ahead on it. KG7YTS, how's it going, buddy? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to questions because I am starting to feel the love of this sinus pain. Sorry that I'm having so many issues with sickness. At work too, I've just been like a zombie. It sucks so bad when you're sick, and it's not like it's just there. It's just always there. It's this nagging pain, and you're never at 100%. You're like at 75% at best. Zombie. That's what I feel like. In your head. It's in your head. Dude, it's bad. Okay, so I said on the ham radio crash course, guys, if you want to go join there, it's a really easy way for me to ask questions, or on Patreon. I start usually with those guys. Those guys get a whole different set of stuff, though. So if you'd like to check that out, the newsletter, man, I'm telling you, it was pretty good this month. It's my first one, so hey, it's got to be good, right? Setting the bar high, I guess. Somebody asked, D-Star or Fusion? So you have it depends. So what that individual is asking me is there's 3 digital modes. There's DMR, which is like ham, Moto Blur, and Motorola is involved in that too, and then D-Star and Fusion. So DMR is kind of more an open platform for digital. Fusion is Yaesu, and D-Star is ICOM. And yes, I have had antibiotics. I have amoxicillin, big horse pill size ones. But you might be right. I might need a Z-Pack. So it depends. Everything depends on who is in your area and what they're using. If you buy a great whiz-bang ICOM D-Star radio, which personally I really like the ICOM D-Star radios. I think the fit and finish of their radios is like some of the best. I really, really like the way that the HTs look. They perform very well. D-Star's great. But if there's nobody talking D-Star in your area, then you just wasted a bunch of money. Fusion is Yaesu. That video the stream we did 2 weeks ago, where I talked about what is the best Baofeng and then what other alternatives are there. The Yaesu, that really whiz-bang Yaesu, that one's great. I would recommend that. That does Fusion. Fusion is also a good digital system. At the end of the day, you're probably gonna be better off if you go DMR if you want to learn what digital is. Because D-Star and Yaesu kind of put some training wheels on to help the radio operate, and they take a lot of the guesswork out of it for the operator. If you're somebody who likes a turnkey solution, then something like D-Star and Yaesu's Fusion is going to be preferred for you. If you're somebody who likes to learn about the particular thing, the new whiz-bang thing, then DMR might be the way you'd want to go. Okay. That was the first question. Next question. My buddy Jeremy asks, have I checked out the Ranger Phone S15 Android smartphone with VHF UHF capabilities? He thinks it's pretty cool. So, I have looked at it. That's what I have looked at it. This is it. It is an Android phone that has a built-in walkie-talkie functionality. Now, you got to be careful with Chinese radios because they throw the term around walkie-talkie a lot, and it could mean lots of things. It could mean a true, here's a ham radio and you have all the control over it, or it could just be a kind of pre-programmed ham radio UHF spec, but kind of functions more like an FRS radio. So I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I was looking at the specs. Jeremy said that it was UHF, VHF, but I looked down here and it says it's only UHF. So I don't know. Your mileage will vary on this one. I really can't say. To me, here's my problem. So it's got a 2600 milliamp hour battery, but it's still a phone, okay? And phones are battery hogs, and radios, when you're not transmitting, are very lightweight. They just sip power. I don't like those two being married together. I don't like the idea of a phone taking away my radio power. And that's what it's going to do, right? So to save radio power, you're going to turn off your phone. Well, then you've kind of just defeated the purpose of having two separate items, or one item in which the two have become one. You're much better off with just saying, okay, I'm just going to keep a separate phone and I'm going to keep a separate radio, which is what I generally recommend. So I'm not a fan. It may be great. I'm not a fan. The Ranger phone. I kind of like the name though. The name's pretty cool. Also, I kind of get an idea of how good a product is when you go on YouTube and you see lots of people with videos about that product. I didn't see a lot of videos for the Ranger phone. And when I did a search, it was just people that were selling it on QRZ. QRZ is a ham radio website. Your mileage will vary, but I'm guessing it's probably not great. That's just my hunch. Question, or maybe not question. I can't remember the channel, but there is one channel where they won free ICOM D-Star handhelds, but there were no D-Star repeaters in the area, so he just has to use analog. Yeah, perfect. And there's so. This is like cigarettes, right? People get really brand loyal to cigarettes and cars and radios and all that stuff. You shouldn't be. You really shouldn't. You should just do and buy the things that fill your niche, that fill your needs. If it doesn't, don't buy it just because you like the brand. The brand's going to be okay. It'll be okay without you. Unless the product's really good and it solves all your problems or it scratches the itches that you needed scratched. Go for it. Sweet, sassy molassie. I am not doing good. All right, we're gonna do some live troubleshooting right now. So I've got a problem with my Zygo, and I don't want this to be a problem. So my problem is I don't think it's working. So it's got an external mic, right? This is your handheld mic, and I've got somebody that's messaging me on Facebook that's kind of walking me through this. So I want to use internal mic, external mic, aux line in. So I want to use the internal mic for this. So I'm going to disconnect this. Where's the mic? KI6NAZ radio check. KI6NAZ radio check. So I would expect to see this line, which is probably not going to come through here because it's backlit. There's a line for the power meter. I would expect that to jump as I talked my voice, and it's not. So I'm worried that this thing's broken, which is no bueno. Power settings all the way up to 5 watts. Yep. It's not boding well for the Mr. Zygo. He's seating, yeah. Just tried the internal mic with power at 5 watt. No go. No bueno. Whew, man. I'm sorry that I'm not my normal cheerful self. I'm actually dealing with some pain here. Yeah, so going back to the comment from before, Terminator says amoxicillin is more potent than Z-Pak. So I was always under the assumption that a Z-Pak is a more broad-scoped antibiotic, that it could be used for lots of different things, and amoxicillin was not great in some areas, but could be wrong. Man alive. Okay. Hit me with the questions if you got them. Otherwise, I think I'm going to go. I'm not feeling good. Hopefully you all go and set up the input frequency on your radios, or at least know how to do it, and then you understand why you'd want to do it. Because no joke, I've been driving down the freeway, and we'll have somebody that's just throwing all kinds of interference onto the repeater, and one of the guys will give a call saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and tell me, if you hear that on the input. And they've got, it's not code, but they say like, anybody hear that guy local? And that's what they're referring to. They're referring to the input frequency. Oh, Ray, okay, I was waiting. I know you sent me a message, or you sent a comment. How did the radio club meeting go? I actually answered your question on Fusion and D-Star. The Cliff Notes version is pick whichever one people are using in your area. That's what you want to do. You switched it in the menu first, right? Yes, I did. DJ Sean Nibs. So if I haven't gotten the Gordon book yet, that's my first step. No, you can go download the practice app and watch my videos. You can start taking the practice tests. It's a practice test. If you fail the practice test, who cares? Nobody gets hurt. And you don't have to get the Gordon West book. I just recommend it. There are websites that you can go to, Ham Study Online or something like that. A couple of people maybe in the chat know, because some people didn't buy any book. They just went and used the websites and the apps and they skipped the whole book thing. We live in a new wonderful world where there's lots of different amazing options. Ray, how'd it go? Well, we both have repeaters in the area. I'm going to play with both. There you go. That's a good call. I really like the ICOM system, but I also really like the Yaesu radios. So it's kind of a toss-up. Well, my sinus pain is palpable. I feel like crap. Yeah, man, it's a practice. Like, if the whole reason that these apps exist is so you can just beat on them. So beat on them. Just go for it. Nobody's gonna laugh at you. Nobody cares. just do it, man. Make it happen. And don't come back and be like, oh, I'm waiting until I ace it. No. Once you hit 75%, go take the test. That's what I tell everybody. Once you hit 75%, go take the test. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna sit down and you're gonna start taking the test, and you're gonna be like, you're basically gonna get to a point where you calm down, you're taking the test, it's no joke time, and you're going to pass it. Yeah. It always works out that way. You just take you study up until the point, again, it's not school, you're not trying to get an A+, you're just trying to pass. And you don't get extra credit for getting a 95% or higher. You just need to be 75%. Once you hit 75%, you're good to go. And so once you hit 75%, go take the test, because once you sit down to take the test, you're going to be uber conservative. You're going to take your time. You're going to overthink everything. Just go. And biggest piece of advice when you take the test, answer a question. If you don't know the answer immediately, or it just doesn't hop off the page to you, skip it and move on to the next one. Skip it, move on to the next one. And then once you finish the test, then go back over and go back over the questions that you didn't hit. Because oftentimes, you'll get two questions in a test that are not the same, but they have similarities, and one may lead you to the answer to the other. You just needed to hear it a different way, or you needed to have some part of your brain fire that would have worked. So, whew, okay. Reminder, I will be at the TRW swap meet this at the end of the month, unless my sinus kills me. That would be cool if anybody wanted to take their test. I will be, well, I'm not going to be in the test. I'm not going to go down there with you, but I'll be there. I had some pretty cool deals last time I was at the swap meet, so that's always fun. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and then click the bell, particularly if you want to get notified when these live streams go live. I know I say they're always at 7 p.m., but it's helpful to know and get a reminder. Also, the antenna video is going to go out tomorrow or Sunday, because what's going to happen right now is I'm probably going to get off the chat and I'm going to go watch the video again and make sure I like how it looks on YouTube. And if I don't like it, I'll probably edit it some more and repost it, so maybe Sunday. But the idea is tomorrow. If there are no other questions, I'll pause for questions. While I pause, let me remind you that there is the Ham Radio Crash Course YouTube page that we set up. Just going game busters. We got people hopping on every day pretty much saying they passed their test, which is awesome. Super into that. I really appreciate that. Also, I don't want to forget, but I'm really not prepared for any of this because of how today went. Big shout out to Carrie though, because she's in the chat. Carrie's one of my best patrons. So thank you, Carrie. I appreciate all the generosity. And I wanted to, was P. Pilot? Where'd he go? Yeah, P. Pilot too. Shout out to P. Pilot. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the throwing me a little tip there at the beginning of this. I'll take that and I'll use it to buy an auger bit the diameter of my nose when I lose my mind and drill out my head. It's not that it hurts, it's that it just doesn't go away. It's like this whole part of my face is just, it's not throbbing, it's just pain. Just omnipresent pain. I hate it. It's killing me. Alright. I'm checking for any more questions. I think I got them all. Sorry to cut this one a little shorter than normal. Hopefully next week I'll have all this sorted out and we'll be able to go the distance. But I will be posting a video tomorrow, so hopefully that tides everybody over. Okay. That's going to be it. Thanks again to everybody, and I will talk to you later. See ya.